Hello everyone, we're going to do a quick video from section 1.7. This is number 14 in my homework. We have f of x equals x over x plus 1 and g of x equals 10 over x. It wants us to find f of g of x, and then we're going to talk about the domain. So f of g of x means the g function is going to get plugged into the f function. Okay, the g function is getting plugged into the f function. So f of x is just x over x plus 1. So everywhere there's an x, I'm going to plug in g of x. So f of g of x. So this x becomes 10 over x. This x becomes 10 over x because I'm plugging in g. And then I still have that plus 1. Okay? So now we have to simplify it. The first thing you want to do is combine combine these fractions on the bottom. But because this does not have a common denominator with this fraction, we need to change the 1 to x over x, because we have to get a common denominator. So then, now that they have common denominator, now we can combine those into one fraction. Okay? So now we have a fraction divided by a fraction. And so to solve that, we keep the first fraction the same. So 10 over x. We're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second fraction. Okay, so flipping it. So anytime you divide by a fraction, you're really going to multiply by the reciprocal. So that actually is kind of nice, because then the x's cancel out, and we're left with 10 over 10 plus x. So that should be our answer here. Great. So now we have to talk about the domain. So when you're doing the domain of a composite function, you need to think about what values to exclude from your final answer and what values you need to exclude from the function that you plugged in. If you look at this step here, this first step, we have fractions here that we need to think about. Okay? These fractions have a value that they need to exclude, and then our final answer has a value that needs to be excluded. Okay? So we're going to look at our final answer here and what needs to be excluded, and we're going to look at kind of this first step and what needs to be excluded. So based on this first step, I cannot use x equals 0. Can't do it, because if I use x equals 0, then I have fractions divided by 0, and that's undefined. That cannot happen. If I look at this fraction, I cannot use x equals negative 10. Because if I use negative 10, then I have 10 plus negative 10, and I'm dividing by 0 again. So for my domain, I have to think about all these possibilities. It can be anything, okay? But it can't be negative 10, and it can't be 0. So the way we're going to do this is this section's good, from negative infinity up to negative 10, we're okay. And from negative 10 to 0, we're okay. But we have to skip those points. And then we're okay from 0 to infinity. So the way we type this is in 3 sections, kind of like this number line is set up. So our first section, we're good from negative infinity to negative 10. We use this symbol for union. That means we're doing multiple sections. Then it's negative 10 to 0, union 0 to infinity. Okay? All right. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll have more videos coming later.